Welcome to His Advocates. You're new, you're excited, you don't know what to make of all this. It's all good. It's all good. We are excited to announce hey listen, FYI, in 2 weeks I'm gonna be at the Republic event in Colorado, Breckenridge, Colorado. I'm gonna be speaking on Saturday. I'm gonna hold a workshop on Sunday for anybody that's interested. The event costs a whole $100 and it's going to be geared on the Republic. Obviously, I'm going to talk about what the Republic is because it's here, not there. Meaning there is an important thing about upholding our God-given unalienable rights, but this is where the Republic is. It lies with me and my decisions and my jurisdictions I want to step in and out of. And so, um, you can get the information. I'm going to send out an email the next couple of days anyway, but you can get the information on Republic for the United States of America.org. I will be posting the information to HISadvocates.org under the events tab, and we're limited to 200 people. So I'm excited. I haven't spoken in 10 years in front of a group. So I'm excited about that. And I'm looking forward to the workshop on Sundays because there's a lot of these questions a lot of people have. We're going to dispel all the myths. So first and foremost, if you don't know what this is a book that me and a couple guys, largely me, but I don't want to take credit because I didn't put the form and substance. I put the substance and the form came later. 400 pages down to about 90. This book dispels the myth of what we believe and it puts us into a checkbox. Oh, it's believable. It's not just accurate, it's giving you all the different case sites and logic and reason, which is very minimal in the book. Just case sites, law, substance, form, telling you that what we're doing is 100% lawful and legal. And let me tell you how we do it. Obviously, you need a support system and a help system get you through it. Once in a blue moon, I get people that come and say, just teach me how to do it. I could do it on my own. No, you can't. No, you can't. As a matter of fact, I always say to people, if you see docs out there and they claim they're from his advocates, run. And it's not because we need money or anything like that. It's because our docs are fluid and changing, and you need to have the latest because there's information that is changing, and especially with the Department of State. So the Department of State's going to respond, and you're not going to know what to do in order for you to get your passport as a state citizen. So you want to go through his advocates. If you're in the Republic, the passport process is for free. And obviously, this is something we've been doing for the people in the Republic for a couple of years. It's also for the purposes of just getting their feet wet. And what I'm going to the Republic to talk about on October 17th, 18th, 19th, um, is to help them understand the law that they're not just going to re-inhabit a republic and become free. I'm going to help them understand why they have to make a personal decision to be in republic and a personal decision to be out of the United States Corp. So on that note, this is exciting, exciting times. Oh my gosh. One of the largest purchases of XRP, 200 and like 2 million XRP coins worth over 500 million. People are getting set up for these ETFs that are coming next month after that. The exchanges where XRP is being held are running out. I've told you guys this. I just, for the record, I told you to start buying XRP way back 7 years ago. And then they got sued, and everybody went, oh, and ran, and just like a bunch of little goonies just ran off. And then the reality was, I'm like, stay the course. This is by design. There's never been litigation, really litigation through the SEC this long. But when you look at why and how, and then we started finding out that the key players are out of the NSA and that this is really something. that the Simpsons told us about 25 years ago, and that it's rolling out these business models, these business plans, XRP at the forefront. It's here. It is the global reserve currency platform, if not currency, period. The deals are done. There's some stuff that's been said out loud by Trump, and then everybody's like, dude, shut the blonde tan guy up as fast as you can. We've got to be able to buy XRP at a low amount. We can't get the people excited about it. So the people, there's probably a little bit of price manipulation going, and that goes both ways, guys. Price manipulation goes both ways. What you're watching right now, XRP is at $2.88. And Judge Torres in the XRP Ripple case said XRP cannot be bought by institutions directly from Ripple, meaning the company who created XRP. It has to be bought through the exchanges. Oh, what a great pat on the back for the people that own it. Why? Because no deals can be made on it. Straight up, retail, cost. What does that do? It drives the market. What happens when there's no money left on exchanges, meaning no XRP left on exchanges to be bought? Revaluation. What happens with revaluation? You get a price increase, then people start selling it. And then people start buying that increased value, and then people start selling it, and people start buying. This is how exchanges work. Exchanges are only valuing crypto based on what people are willing to pay for it. Just remember that. So when it runs out, I know. At least I'm not doing the Donald Trump. I've never even tried it, but it's funny. It's fun. He, he's got his own little dance, something like that. Anyway, that's what's going to go down. We are going to be celebrating Christmas together. I know a lot of you humbuggers out there don't celebrate Christmas for religiosity, and I'm gonna sell a big old tall tree, man. I'm telling you, we're all gonna get together and we're gonna have a party and we're gonna be celebrating something, even with all the stuff on the horizon, all Planeteer, all those things that they're trying to implement for the world, all the news behind, really what's going on, why Charlie Kirk was so famously in the public, and all of a sudden a distraction. There's been a ton of accounts that it got frozen over in Vietnam. The United Kingdom just announced there's no going to be no freedom and or ability to work without this digital ID. There's a complete slaughter of people in Africa, Christians right now. Guys, it's on like Donkey Kong worldwide. But I want you to keep the focus. I want you to understand that there's a life that you can live, and you don't have to make the choice to think about those things that we're being marketed continually. And we don't need to dwell on these facts. You just got to learn to say no, and you got to be prepared in advance. Like, do I want to eat McDonald's? Do I want to be on a credit score system? Do I want to get my mealworms instead of real steak? I'm being serious. You don't have enough credit on your account to buy meat. You can afford mealworms, and like literally, you're going to be able to only buy worms. Literally, this is what they're designing for the world, and they have to bring down America to do it. So we need to be very cautious about who is quote unquote in leadership and what they're actually doing for this nation. I don't know the veracity or truth behind what I'm about to say, but supposedly for the first time in history, every military general and admiral of every um, division or branch within the military got called up to Quantico. And I don't know what's going on. Supposedly they're starting to fence off DC again. Don't know if that's true. I'm just saying, I don't know if that's true. I even went online to look at the live streams for Washington, D.C. I did not see any of that. Don't know if I'm looking at real live streams. I'm telling you, I'm watching videos of people and they're really strong and solid. And you guys, after watching it for 30 seconds, you're like, holy crap, that's AI. It's not even a real person. So it's like, what do we know what to believe in? Don't worry about it. Buckle down, get ready for a ride, and learn how to ride a bull. Learn how to ride this, and keep your eyes, literally keep your eyes focused on God. Keep your eyes focused on good. Stop worrying about what's happening around the corner. Okay? Stop worrying about a rapture. Stop worrying about UFOs. Stop worrying about all these things that are being brought up to take our mind off of the project of becoming free or getting true liberation and from a financial realm standpoint. We're starting to look at a whole nother realm of crypto in the private you know communication in the private, these things that are going to be super important for us. And I truly believe um that people of the modern day Christianity are missing the mark in a lot of different respects of what is going to happen. I truly believe there's a lot of misunderstandings of the word and what was intended. And I think that unfortunately, these renditions of what is supposed to happen or not supposed to happen, I just think if you keep your eyes focused on God, no matter what's going to happen, you're just going to, you know, you're going to be in a lot better position than if you take your eyes off and you believe the narratives of what's being said. Because there is a lot of truth that is coming to fruition in this world that was given to us by the word. Lot. And there's a lot that I think that we've been given that really isn't in the word or solidly based in the word. And, this whole Charlie Kirk thing is just to me, I've never listened to me. You could be grounded in God. You need to go look up Charlie Kirk's wife's mom. Okay, you need to look at the fact that Donald Trump has known Charlie Kirk's wife for a lot longer than people realize. You need to understand what are the smoke and mirrors about. I've never known anybody to watch their husband take a shot in the head and be on podcast tour as she is right now and with smiles and gleams. I don't care if you know the Lord. Listen to me. I don't care if you know Charlie Kirk's in a better place. If you've ever lost anybody and you know they're in with God up in heaven, you still hurt. It's painful. It's not something that's easy to deal with. And watching this, I can't say it any other way. Whether Charlie Kirk got killed by his microphone, I don't know if you guys have heard that one. I've never seen the teams respond the way that they responded. I've never seen any of this stuff go down the way. And then, by the way, Charlie Kirk assassinated, did not have an autopsy, was signed off. Look, let me explain something to you. You were not allowed to just go by and not do an autopsy on a murder. You can't. It's not possible. It's not something that's done. There must be a full autopsy done. And Charlie Kirk was just signed off. There is no investigation team at the scene. There was no normal crime scene. The team, if he's dead, the team that was right in front of him jumped over the tables, grabbed something, and started running. Guys, none of it, whether he's dead or alive, none of it makes sense. And it's completely done to make you talk about it, focus on it, and take your mind off really what's going on in the background. What's going on in the background? Fiat currency is a thing of the past, and they are ushering in the new world order. And whether we like it or not, whether 5D chess is being played, whether white hats are involved, whether our generals and admirals are on our team, whether they are in full control of the military, whether all these things, we can do a lot individually by being just mindful and ready ourselves and getting our own food prepared and getting our house in order, getting our debt paid. Don't use the Kiyosaki principle of being more in debt to produce. I get it why US citizens use debt to leverage themselves, financially speaking, to get more and buy more. And I get it. Do what the Bible says. Be a debt-free man, be a debt-free woman. Do what God says, prepare, and stop looking for a rapture Start looking for signs that, because I believe when we get to this point and everybody thinks we're going to be gone or whatever, and you're still here, there's going to be a lot of things introduced into the world that will make it look like there is a different God than really the God of the Bible. It's a lie. I'm telling you right now. And if you start hearing things, I'm just saying this to you, the technology exists. If you start hearing things in your head, just know it's probably a lie, and that you need to understand whatever you need to do. Put on a little tinfoil cap, go get your lamb's hat. You know what a lamb's hat is? I don't know. I don't sell them, but get that head covered so you're not hearing from God. If it's truly God, the lamb's hat will not knock it out. Okay. But I'm just saying that there's stuff coming that's going to take your eyes off truth, and it's going to be the scariest crap that you've ever seen in your life. If you know about it in advance, not so scary. If you think about what is about to be introduced, not so bad, not so hardcore, not so scary. Videos, technology, holograms, all the stuff that you thought did not exist exists, and it's going to freak you out. Now, enough on that. Stay the course, stay vigilant, stay happy, stay grounded, stay in the word, stay in your prayer life. God will show you what's real and what's not. And we will for sure be talking about the experiences. Remember something, new currencies are coming, whether we like it or not. The ability to have a maximum, a huge amount of wealth for yourself is real. Scares me to hear that other countries are now taking the wealth of their citizens, like Vietnam, and doing these tests on a worldwide basis. Scares me to hear that the United Kingdom is saying you will not be able to work without a digital ID by the end of the term of the people that are in their congressional equivalent. This is what's going down. This is what's going down. So be prepared. Never before has gold and silver seemed so beautiful, has it? I bet y'all wish you hung on to your gold and hung on to your silver and all that stuff. What is silver today? Is that $44? What is silver? Hold on. Silver today. I just want to know. There we go. $47. Booyah! Oh my gosh. Gold, all-time high, $3,859, up $2,000 from just a couple of years ago. Oh, I'm sorry. If you would have bought gold and silver just a few years ago, you could have been 3x, 2x. Easy. And you would be holding the only real currency in the world. Gold and silver is the most important thing to have outside of crypto, outside of food, obviously. And outside of a team that you're building with your neighbors and a team that you're building with community, and get smart. Get smart. Listen, I don't know what's going to happen exactly. I know the playbook is kind of written out. I know people are going to get surprised by a lot of things. Zen yourself down in the word of God. Get yourself grounded in prayer and get ready for the show. We're all a party to the show. Just remember, don't ever forget what I'm about to say. We win. 100%. We win. We get the victory. I don't care how the playbook goes. I don't care if this is the fake NFL, the fake World Wrestling Federation, the WWE. I don't care. It's all a show. That's what we've all figured out. It's all a show. So let's get in front of the show. Let's do what's right by our Father. Let's do what's right by our family. Men, buckle down, work harder, make it happen. I'm telling you. It's no, don't give up. If you're don't think you're gonna go and hang out with Jesus for 7 years and then get to come back on your horse and smoke some people. It's not, I don't think that's going down like that. I'm just being honest. This is my opinion. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, I'm just saying I don't think it's gonna be the way that you think it is. So knowing that, We have a difference in doctrinal theology. It's okay. It's okay. I went through the same thought process as all of you guys. I have the same single line scriptures in Thessalonians and Revelations 5, and to make me think I'm going to be singing up in heaven to God before the crap hits the fan with the 7 year period of time. I get it. I can give you what I believe, but I don't want to do that. I just want to help you guys to get through what deception is being played out. Because every time you are looking at what you think of as truth, the rug is being pulled, the smoke and mirrors are being played. So really, when you're seeing something go down and that talk is about Charlie Kirk and that talk is about what's happening in the background, it's really just keep your eyes on what's happening in the background, what's changing quickly, what do we need to be considering? Because in 2 years, it's 2025, October, coming in October in a few days, you're going to see them force the digital ID, the mark, or a mark equivalent or a mark getting close to the mark. You're going to see a religion be preferred for the world order to be released to all people, and if you don't accept it, you either will be killed or martyred or and there's going to be a way around all this, and you're going to laugh at, I think, how easy it is. And don't let's not worry about it right now because we're not there yet, but mark my word, 2 years. Okay. And so what's going to happen in the next couple of years is the financial markets are going to go through the roof. XRP, XLM, XDC, HBAR, Alga, all the ISO coins across the board are just going to scale and do a big scale. And the people that prepared are going to be able to trade that for real money, trade that for food, trade that, because you're going to have hard wallets that will be offline that they will not have access to, that you will be able to buy, trade, sell, exchange. By the way, I'm going to go meet Jake Claver this next month. He's one of the pioneers of cryptocurrencies from an institutional standpoint. I'm going to go ask to see the docs and the books and the insurance policies and the whole ball of wax. Um, and then I'm going to be speaking at the an event in Breckenridge, Breckenridge, Colorado, mid-October. I believe it's the 18th and 19th, and I'm excited. I really am because we're going to talk about freedom like we haven't done in a long time. And I'm going to hype the crap out of that room and get people to understand that whatever they are doing, let them do. You have a right, a God given, unalienable right to say no. And liberty is not easy. Freedom is not guaranteed. And it is work that you need to consider. The devil wants to rob you of every single element, including giving you disinformation. And I'm going to show unequivocally what freedom looks like and how we can scale it and how we, as a body of people, can do it the right way. And so, the republic, the most important thing, but what is republic? It's right here. The second, just remember this, I've been a party to the republic since 2008. 910. I was one of the original founders bringing it back into existence. I'm only saying this because I know the people, I know everybody there. The Republic is important, but you yourself are Republic or you're not. To go and be a party to a Republic and think that somebody is going to be able, because of all the fraud, because of all the fraudulent adhesion, trust, contracts, whatever you want to call them, you think you're going to get back into republic by the signature of a president or the signature of a corporate president called Donald Trump of the United States? No, sorry. I am absolutely sorry that you think that way. But the reality is have you ever affixed your signature to the Declaration of Independence? No, you haven't. Have you ever made any claim other than you are a U.S. citizen on any document with the federal government? No, you haven't, probably. And if you did something, you probably did it wrong, because there's a lot of gurus out there, or pretend gurus, that want to lead you down this national path. And I'm calling them out because I'm sick of hearing they've been, look, you show me a Supreme Court ruling upholding dual citizenship, singular citizenship, state citizenship, federal citizenship, showing what we show in this book. A single one, there isn't one. So why somebody keeps talking about national, American national, they're a fraud. They are a fraud, and they need to flip their entire attitude towards state citizenship. What our founders were, not what they implemented in U.S. code, not what has no founding whatsoever in the United States Supreme Court, and stop steering people back to a lie, to a principle of handcuffs, and let's start freeing the people, because that's what we created that book for. You can get it on Amazon. What does it mean to be an American? You can get the Kindle version for $2.99, and you can get the audible, just listen to it in the background. You can get the book, bring your book with you. I'll sign it mid month at the Republic meeting in Breckenridge. But I am very much looking forward. Can you believe gold and silver today? Silver's going to pass $50. It's all time high. Wow. Wow. And you know what? Silver is probably the best rated asset in the world, if you ask me. Yeah, crypto for sure. Don't get me wrong. You want 1,000x on something, pick the right crypto. Got it. I got it. You want to hold something tangible that's got you know, a price that's been sequestered for 20, 30 years, that they need to do what they need to do, and silver. Silver's going to be massive rate of return. As a matter of fact, silver should be 1/16th right now the value of gold. So you take gold at $3,856, whatever it is, divided by 16. That should be the value of silver. That's the historical value of silver, proving that silver is sequestered right now. So unfortunately, you can take one little piece of gold, and that's 4 Gs. Silver, you need a big stack, and it's kind of heavy, but it's still valuable. Anyway, let's get to the first question. I want to thank you for listening. If you have your questions, post them on the Q&A. Also, I'm going to try to read the ones of the people that sent them in first. And so we're going to do an order. These are the tickets that we, oh, look at my entire calendar's back. And every single question on the Q&A. Oh, I'm telling you, I am going to get out of a digital calendar, and I'm going to get back into a physical calendar. I don't trust these things anymore. Okay, first question. Crazy. It's crazy. All right, here we go. My strongman, all caps, is being sued. No, you're getting sued. They can only sue the all caps name over and debt small claims sued by an entity with whom I did not agree to do business with. I'm scheduled to appear at the pretrial hearing via Zoom October 14th. What's a good way for me to handle this situation without going further into contract with the corporations? Any help is greatly appreciated. It's kind of a loose question, James. What I would do is I'd do an ex parte motion. And there's a ton of stuff that I would be requesting, but you can do a special appearance into the case and ask for certain things for jurisdictional proofs and prove ups. Nevertheless, they can just override all that. Generally, it's a commissioner that's seeing a small claims thing, and in these small claims debt, most every time the debtor's winning. But if I were you, you really want to nail this out, go read the FDCPA. It'll take you an hour. FDCPA. And there's people out there like whatliesInMyDebt.com.org. They'll show you how to defend yourself at $49 a month in these types of cases. I'm not sure I got the website name right, but the FDCPA is powerful knowledge, especially when you can come into a case and rebut the presumption of them having any standing whatsoever utilizing the FDCPA. Okay, next question. On the LPP onboarding video around the 35-minute mark, Kelby advises against using the SSN This has raised some questions for us as we plan on financing a car, currently use a few credit cards. I'm trying to understand the implications of this advice. Does this mean we'd be unable to finance a car? Should we stop using our credit cards entirely? If so, what is the recommended alternatives for making large purchases or navigating situations where borrowing is typically required? First and foremost, I appreciate your sentiments. Secondly, the Bible says you shouldn't be a debtor. Thirdly, I only say it because I want to be an extremist in protecting the members. I want to make sure the members don't have hiccups or issues when they're coming out. This is why nobody does. This is why we don't have any issues. Plus, the Bible says, come out of her, my people. And if you're enriching the whore, which is what a note does, you're allowing for that system and that structure to win. Now, on that note, the element for me is a moral issue. Yes, sometimes you can provoke a jurisdictional position for whoever's trying to gain jurisdiction over you by the creation of a credit card debt, by the creation of something where you put on the application, I am a United States citizen. So that you understand, this is what we did. We unraveled warrants and indictments. Warrants are something that's issued by a court, indictments issued by a district attorney. And in unraveling them, we reverse engineered how they gain jurisdiction over the people. We then created the living in the private program. So I wanted the worst case scenario this for every single person. I wanted to make sure every single person would never, ever have that feeling. And so just knowing that you can do credit, the application should be consistent of one, where you're doing a reservation, number two, where you're at a minimum signing as an agent for, and number three, where you get to the point where you actually start listening to God and God's word and try to get away from the financing elements. Now, it's one thing to finance, it's one thing to lease. And I know a lot of people are like, what's the difference, factor versus interest, and these various different things. It's really between you and God. If you pray and God gives you a green light to be able to use the social, the only thing I'm going to say is make sure that you're putting the name in all caps and you're putting the word buy in front of your name when you're signing on the agreement. You're delineating yourself on a contract, showing that you understand that that is the straw person that owns the social and you're the beneficial interest of it. And I don't want to explain why all that is important because that's a big conversation. But the US citizen is the birth certificate. And many people are holding that office. This is how a corporation is able to do business with a living man. They should be and are doing business with like entities. The BC is another corporation. So when you have this corporation, this BC, this instrument, if you will, in front of you, and you're taking it to the DMV and saying, hey, this is me. You're now applying for a job called driver. You're then taking the BC and now the social security that your parents bought for you, or as for me, I did the social security application at 13. That's what I would call an unconscionable contract. How do you do business with a minor without a parent signature on the agreement? I didn't understand it at 13 and didn't care. I just wanted a social. I just wanted to be able to get a driver's license, just wanted to be able to get a job, and a lot of those times we don't realize we are taking the U.S. citizen equivalent under 9 UCC registered organization, and you're bringing a U.S. citizen. By the way, corporations can be U.S. citizens. Go look this up in case law. This isn't something I'm just making up. You can take the U.S. citizen and go get jobs with it. And these are offices that you hold. You're first and foremost, you're holding the office of U.S. citizen. And therefore, that job with the employment ID number called Social Security number, that job that you're holding has a series of of policies that you got to adhere to, statute, code, and ordinances. And those policies are something that policy enforcement officers, policy enforcement officers are going to make sure that you do your job properly. Therefore, if you violate the statute, the code, or the ordinance, the Fourth Amendment doesn't apply to you, meaning you don't have a right to a trial of a jury by your peers. And in my own book, I show people where you don't have access to the Bill of Rights or the constitutional protections as a U.S. citizen. People don't realize these very little things. So to answer your question, I only say that because for me, it's a moral issue. It may not be a moral issue with you. You may have clearance from God Almighty that I don't have. But for me, I want to make sure that on every application, I'm telling the truth. I'm a citizen of California or a citizen at the United States of America at a minimum. And if I can't get that accomplished on the application, I'm going to give them a notice after the fact with a notary. Please, please annex this to my original application for clarification purposes so that you can show anybody in the future, if they're trying to come after you for jurisdictional privilege, that you are out, that you clarified the record of the application, that you are not a U.S. citizen, that you're a citizen of the greatest nation in the world, the United States of America. And you know what's so funny? As I just said that, there's people that are listening saying there's no difference in law. You're wrong. Right here. There is a difference. And the Supreme Court's acknowledged me in the difference. And so we don't want to be a citizen or an employee of the United States. We want to make sure that we dot our I's, cross our T's. So whatever God works on your heart with in that response and that question, whether you can use the social law, make sure the application is showing that you're operating it, the trust, as the beneficial interest versus the surety or trustee. That's all. Um, Next question. In the onboarding video, Kelby mentions that we cannot receive anything under our personal name. Does this restriction include prescriptions? No, this I don't say anything. What I say is you don't want to keep what belongs truly to God, which is everything on this earth. You don't want to keep anything in the all caps name because that is not you, and that is owned by the state. So when you understand why they're able to lean up on something so easily or take your children or, it's because there's intrinsic rights to that name. And there are people out there that trademark their name and are able to do all kinds of things against cases that are coming against them, all kinds of things. But don't worry about prescriptions and things of that nature. Just make sure cars, homes, you want to put in the name of the foundation. But you can't on a car that you don't have clear title to, but you can on a home at any time. What is the best way to handle my two LLCs? Do I close them down and make my foundation a primary member only? I use the LLCs for an HVAC business and real estate rental business. If the foundation owns the real estate rentals, just move it. If you can make any business quote unquote private, but sometimes licensing is required for like HVAC. So you want to do the foundation as the primary member for the HVAC. You want to be careful to collect taxes and on behalf of the state and not pay it. The foundation, when it's in operation as the primary member of the LLC, and clear this with your accounting. There's a thing called disregarded entity, meaning it would make the LLC a disregarded entity, but the LLC can still be the license holder. The LLC can still operate, receive checks, and do things on behalf of the business, quote unquote. But make sure you run it past because as a disregarded entity, even the LLC doesn't have to file a return and is not obliged to pay any taxes because the primary member is a foundation. A lot of good stuff. You may want to consider doing a consultation if you need one. There might be some nuances I'm not able to address because I don't know what they are. My husband and I have active state paperwork ready to be mailed. waiting to be mailed, but I need an understanding of what an apostille process is and why and how it's tied into an active state. What is the apostille paperwork? It's your ability to file something into the public at the Secretary of State level, which is who basically is in charge of jurisdictional applications for passports. Why is it included in this step? Well, you want to be able to take the paperwork that you've done, where you're creating the stuff with the DMV, the IRS, the SSA, your certified copies of your passport application, all the paperwork that you did in the LPP, and you want to be able to put it behind an active state and put it into the public. Now, what I would suggest is you don't need necessarily to do an apostille process with the Department of State. If you want, you can put it in the public. As a matter of fact, we have a process where we put it in the public for you for $100, and we'll keep it on the back of our server. Now you have a publicly recorded document. It's less, cheaper, and you don't need to worry about the hiccups or headaches of filing the paperwork. We would just ask that you create the PDF that is your um, completed set of docs, and we give you the breakdown of what that exactly looks like with all your mailings. It's a completed court of record. And then you put it into the public, and then you serve the parties to which you now have a new agreement with for the understanding of what the agreement is and what the fee schedule looks like if they want to, usurp your rights to be a state citizen. And this is why people get left alone. So I just reach out to Alex in the back office and say, you want us to do the active state filing into the public for you. It's a lot easier. Next, Alex, to transfer vehicle into our foundation, we just completed donation letter and receipt. Question mark. That's part of it. Or do we have to transfer the title? You have to transfer the title. I'd go to AAA. It's just easy. Into the foundation name. Yeah, it's easy. AAA. Or just go to the DMV and say, I want to put it in the foundation, my company name. Don't say private foundation, unrecorded foundation. Just say, I want to put this in the name of my company. Number one, our next question. Are smart contracts available today, and where do you go to have one done? There's all kinds of companies that are offering all kinds of smart contracts. That's a question for Google, really. You can do whatever you want. Are smart contracts loans against your own crypto, gold, silver as collateral for the loan that you take out? Not the gold, not the silver, but crypto. Yeah, there are smart contracts that you can utilize. And those are things that we're going to be talking about this month with the VIP members. One of the things that we're doing is we're meeting all the companies. I'm personally flying out for on behalf of really HISAdvocates VIP members to go to institutional companies. First one being in Texas to meet Jake Claver, and he's all over the internet. He's a big buzz going on. I just want to have him break it down for me. I need to see him personally, shake his hand, do all that. But yeah, there's a lot of different ways to approach monetizing the crypto. Part of it for me is I want to get a lot of capital in hand, so I'm going to get a loan, probably up to 50%, and then I'm going to go and put the balance into a smart contract at a rate of return, and I'm going to utilize the rate of return for paying the bill on the loan. No matter what, the crypto goes up. No matter what, I'm going to hang on to all the crypto. No matter what, loan, even though I'm a state citizen, there's no loan out there that is a capital gain or a taxable event. There's a lot of benefits to doing what I just said. Plus, you're hanging onto the crypto. And as the crypto goes up in value, especially these ISO coins over the next 5, 10 years, you're still going to be young enough to um, do really well for yourself, where you hang on to every little bit of that crypto. And so some of the things that I'm going to be wanting to see is the return of the crypto back to a cold storage wallet. And what is the guarantee, contractually speaking, that we're going to be able to do that to protect our VIP members? Because I know that um, I don't want to just lay the money out, transfer it, and not be able to get it back. I'm working on being able to see if there's any escrow type companies that are out there that will allow for a smart contract to take effect for a period of time. After the period of time has been achieved, the crypto comes back to a cold storage. Secondly, cold storage. I've really learned a lot about cold storage. If you're a VIP member, you're really gonna want to hear what I have to say. Um, Starting tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Uh, I have on order a few cold storage devices where I'm supposedly able to create the keywords myself. This is super important because the cold storage devices themselves are open source, meaning people can see the code and they can see how it's written and they can understand it, that there's protections built within the code for the people. Um, and so I'm going to be testing some hard wallets that have a 10 out of 10 on walletscrutiny.com. You may want to take a look over there. But it's super important that we are holding the keys and we are holding the words that we create, and that no company has the power over our device. Super important. So that's something I've really been looking into for all of us. And I'll be releasing the information as I learn it over the next several weeks and months to come. Next question. Can a bank or government not confiscate currency assets if it already is used against a smart contract loan? Um, that's a good question. I think that people would, if anything, if the contract is in the name of an individual, see the bank, the Fed, they're not going to have any jurisdiction over the foundation. I think a lot of people are going to be pleasantly surprised once they find out the power and controls that they have with a foundation, especially with open bank accounts. You're going to watch. You're going to watch. Like, those accounts are not going to be affected. I just have this crazy belief that those accounts are not going to be affected. Why? Because they are truly outside of the jurisdiction and they don't have the ability to just do close an account down like they did in Vietnam and try to make people conform because they don't know who owns the account. But to answer your question specifically, I would bet dime for dollar that if that smart contract were in an individual name, they'd be able to take the assets or the proceeds of the contract until the contract was done, and then they'd try to take the assets. But if you're putting these smart contracts in names of the foundation, then nobody has jurisdictional privilege over the asset or the contract. Hope that helps. All right, I'm gonna get to the Q&A online. A tier saw has a question. My final loan payment on my car this month. Should I donate it to my foundation? And when ready to sell, have a CarMax write a check to the foundation. Wondering if it's better to do it this way. Why would CarMax write you a check to the foundation? Oh, when you're ready to sell the car. I got it. You're gonna take it to CarMax. They're gonna write you a check. Yeah. Um, why do you want to sell the car? Just question. But yeah, put it in the name of the foundation. Yeah, not, I'm only saying from an asset protection standpoint, if there's any liability that you have or the all caps name has or any judgments or anything, they can come after the title. So by putting it in the name of the foundation as a donation, you're going to have a taxable benefit on your side, number one. Number two, if you're still filing taxes. Number two, yeah, CarMax will be able to write a check to the foundation all day long. Anonymous attendee is asking, we are setting up an LLC with the foundation being the sole member. How do we sign the paperwork at the bank for the LLC bank account? And what should we use for our title with the LLC? I can't tell you what to do for a title standpoint of the LLC. You just pick whatever. It's really not that big of a deal. Every bank account that I do, I sign in cursive non-assumptive. I just do not want to contract with a bank. Next question. Does the foundation need a religious oriented mission statement? Well, if you're getting a foundation from us, we do ask for one from you. And we want to know that we're giving it to somebody who wants to honor God, that it's not just a tax thing, that it's something they have a heart to do, because this opportunity to get around from a jurisdictional standpoint, you're not getting around anything. You're just not required from this operation of law of not being required to file a tax return or pay taxes. You should be having a mindset of what your mission is for God anyway. So just do it. We need one. we call it a statement of faith from an individual when we're doing foundations. Super important. I want to make sure we're helping people serving God. Did you mention to not use the Ledger hardware cold storage wallet? If so, why? Because there's people that have developed something that looks like Ledger that makes you feel you're doing an update, that makes you feel that you need to supply the keywords that they are asking for. And there are people out there, I've heard this from Jake himself online, that have lost millions of dollars by a phishing scheme using the Ledger platform. Now, I don't know what exactly that scheme was, and I don't know if it was directly in contact with Ledger, and I don't know if it's something that was spun off from the wallet itself or from some phone prompt or I do know every day I'm getting messages, and listen to me, guys. Anybody asking for your words or anything, you need to be extremely careful. But I am continually getting opportunities to that would say your transfer has been initiated. This is Coinbase. If that wasn't you, please call us. And then they want to get your information. They want to get your email. They want to get, and then ultimately take control of your. Oh, that's a major issue. Do you mind if we take a look at your computer to make sure you don't have any issues on your computer? And then you open the door to your computer, and then they, don't do it. Listen to me right now. The future billionaires will be thieves. I mean, right now they already are, but you know what I'm saying. The future billionaires are going to be kids on the other end stealing the wealth of people off their hard wallets, which is the true safe of the future. Next question. I heard that anyone who had a foundation built by his advocates, it's a 501c1A. Is that true? No. I don't recall seeing that in my documents. The foundation EIN says it is not tax exempt. So the IRS, we are not going for approval from the IRS for an exemption. Anything that is God's does not belong to man, and it falls under 508c1A, not 501c1A. I don't want to make a claim of being a 508c1A. I don't need IRS's permission to do God's business. I'm not going to follow any statute or code of a corporation masquerading itself as a creditor to people for God. I'm not. So I don't advertise that it's a 508c1A. Anybody telling you it's a 508c1A has their head up their butt and understanding of what a private church is or a private foundation is. But the IRS does not have any say as to what is tax exempt or what is not. It just is. It doesn't fall under any rules, any IRS codes, anything. It's just a church. It's private. It's not public. And what I tell people is a lot of times you're trying to go get a bank account open, you're trying to get this, that, or the other. What I tell people is if you're going to have to put anything in that section on that document, the closest thing to it would be a 508c1A. But I don't tell people we're under the IRS or use their codes or fall into their jurisdictions, because more might be implied when you do that as jurisdiction from the IRS being over the entity. And we don't ask permission to do God's work. We are looking to start a subscription service. Should we set up a PMA or have an LLC as a pass-through? I don't know what your subscription service is. If it's wholesome, why not? A PMA, why not? There's no reason to have something done through an LLC unless licensing is required and the licensing hangs on the LLC or the S Corp or the C Corp. Everything should be done privately. How do you feel about when people say state national? I feel that those people don't know what the heck they are and don't know the law. And I think if they read the United States Code created by the United States Corporation, and went to Cornell Law online to look at what the word national and the word state actually mean, they would have a different opinion too. All right, next question. Do you know if the third-party nodes being patched, the ones that had malware on them for swapping on hot wallets, the malware swapped receiving addresses at final confirmation? Jason, way over my head. Speak Spanglish to me, please. I know there was an issue, um, but I'm not. And if you're talking about Ledger, I'm not exactly sure what it was. All I'm doing is informing people that when these phishing scams come up or these malware scams come up, that we have to be identifying them as malware, not giving our information over to them. That's all I'm trying to do. We have a friend who purchased digital assets and wants to protect them from taxation. Is the only way to do this via the foundation? Can HISA create the foundation for them without them going into the private? All day long. All day long. Going into the private is an added benefit of privacy and jurisdiction. And they will always consider that once they understand your paperwork that you did to get your passport. It's very compelling. Also, give them the book. Buy the book for them, please. Next question. Can I fill out the SS4 IRS form for FEIN for an LLC foundation? Will be the only member. As a non-US applicant, I would use my name, put foreign in the SS line. Is this proper process or should I just use my SS number? So you're trying to get a tax ID number for the SS4. Just give us $100. We have a process. We do no social to help you to get it. Answering that is not easy. I'll just leave it at that. It's not easy to just how to fill out an SS4 form properly. We have just done so many hit and misses, and we finally hit, and now we have a process of getting a tax ID number with no social. It's an extra Benny, and we charge, I think, $100, but we spend a couple of hours putting the paperwork together. I wasn't able to open up a PG&E account with the private foundation using the EIN. Don't know why. And have been having some challenges with county health labeling, selling product to other businesses. I don't want to do much business in the name of the foundation. Was thinking about establishing an LLC with the foundation as sole member and member managing South Dakota, but then saw the California where I do business wants 800 to register a foreign LLC. Any thoughts, guidance? First and foremost, you don't need a foreign LLC in California to do business online, if you will. Are you trying to sell in California to a California business? I know of people that will have a foreign corporation all day long, not registering it in California or incorporating it in California. I don't understand that principle. And I get it. There's a lot of people that might say, Kelby, what are you talking about? You need to have a business license in the state to which you do business. Do you? Really? You do? That's funny. Okay. I've had a lot of businesses in Delaware and other states that I've conducted business with in California, and nobody ever said anything so long as the state and federal returns were filed. That's the bottom line. So if you're going to have first and foremost with your PG&E, nobody can keep you from opening up a foundation account. You may need to give them a deposit and just make sure they open it up. They can't say because it's unregistered, therefore you can't have one. Excuse me. I bet you they won't put it in writing and they'll accept a secured account. They look at it as they're giving credit because they're giving you gas and electric in advance. So just do a secured account with them. But secondly, you can do the LLC. I don't know why you would need to necessarily register it in the state of California. Um, but lastly, I would, for me, I would always just conduct business in the private. I wouldn't be doing business as an LLC unless there was a license or some type of thing preventing me to like a real estate license. I can only hang it on an S corp or a C corp. I can't hang it on a foundation. So for me to conduct business as a real estate venture company and or do lending underneath that, I would need um, the multiple license, the licenses to lend, and hanging it to my license with the DRE. And then I'm able to conduct any business through the corporation, and the corporation has a duty and obligation to file returns. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of donations to foundations through that corporation, which are 100% legal. But you just got to ask yourself, and again, I don't know exactly what's going on with what you're trying to sell, what you're trying to do. If you need, just restate the question or do a consultation, but restate the question and try to get it very clear so I can understand. And I'll try to help you right here. Next question. Trying to schedule a consult. Looks like the first available is October 10th. Is there a good opportunity for earlier consults? If so, how do I go about this? Mm-mm. Um, Sorry, brother. Um, Pay for the consult. Don't do the booking. Hit me up in an email, Kelby at HISadvocates.org, and we'll work through getting it fulfilled before then. Thank you, George. Lisa, how do you think about I should go about moving my Fidelity account into the name of the foundation? Open up an account at Fidelity as the foundation, and just close the other one and wire the money to the foundation account at Fidelity. That's all. You can't transfer it. You just have to open it up and move the money. We purchased guns fully assembled while in the public over 5 years ago. I allowed my license to carry to expire. My husband will expire in a few years. How do we protect ourselves from unlawful prosecution or harassment if we conceal carry on your person or in our vehicles? Is there paperwork that protects us or something that we should show law enforcement as private citizens? It's a great question. Um, First, that's the problem with the CCW. You have to tell law enforcement the second they pull you over of what's in the car and or what's on your person. Secondly, on a CCW, you have to keep this on your person at all times. You cannot not have this on you, meaning if it's in the car somewhere, that would be an issue. They expect it on the person. Thirdly, it's got to be concealed. It can't be in the public. Why do you not want to conceal? Because the Second Amendment and the Supreme Court has already confirmed both concealed and open that anybody in any state can carry. Lastly, Trump is going to make something supposedly a lot easier, but for a state citizen, um, no matter what you're going to tell law enforcement, they don't understand the Supreme Court has already ruled differently than a statute, code, or ordinance. You just got to learn how to shut your mouth. And I'm not saying implying that you don't know how to do that. I'm just saying, when a cop says, "Are there any guns, firearms, or anything in this car?" It's none of their business. Respectfully speaking, it's none of your business. And I don't answer questions. And that's basically how you say it. I don't answer questions. What do you need? I need you to tell me for my own safety. Okay, well, I appreciate you in saying that. You've pulled me over. Is this an emergency? There's a series of things that you can do that would screw them in the event that they actually raided your car and found a gun in it. They would not be able to use it for any other reason because they unlawfully searched and seized your vehicle and or didn't have reasonable suspicion and there's a whole, like, every single stop is different. So if it were me and I wanted to carry, there are safes that you can buy that have the gun on one side and the ammo in another pocket, that when you press the code, two safes open instantly. You take the mag, you put it in, and now you're carrying anywhere you want with instant access to a loaded firearm that is locked and sealed away. That would take a warrant from a federal or a state judge to get into that safe to determine if there was a gun in there. So if it were me and I was really skittishy or worried about my mouth or what to say, I'm gonna just go and buy a $500 or $600 safe. Second thing, there's safes I gotta be careful, but and then again, I don't. Um, there are safes that are headrests that come with a code and come completely sealed and sheltered to where you can put a gun in a headrest to which would never be found. Number one. Number two, if it were found, it would require a warrant to access what's in that. It's none of your business. And then you don't say that, but you just say, I'm sorry, I don't answer questions. And then they're going to ask you to step out of the vehicle, step out of the vehicle. They're going to say they have reasonable suspicion. No, they don't. Can we search your vehicle? No, no. Say no, no. And look, I'm not trying to make your lives hard, but it's pretty obvious when a cop sees a safe what his opinion is going to be in on it. What do you have in there? I'm sorry, I don't answer questions. Can you please step out of the vehicle? We're going to search the vehicle. No, you don't have permission to search the vehicle. We need the code to the safe. No, I'm sorry, we're not going to give you one. Go get your warrant. Can I go? No, we're going to hold. We're going to do this. We're going to do. No, they can't. They would be screwed, glued, and tattooed to try to inbound your car, to wait for a warrant, to get a judge to let you open that safe. I mean, there's no reasonable suspicion. There's no cause. There's no nothing. You saying I don't want to answer questions is enough. And a lot of people don't understand their rights. And so, without getting fully into it, Belinda, I would just say, calm down. You know, you have every God-given unalienable right to carry, but since yours are all registered, what I would do is put it in a safe, and I wouldn't worry about it. For your husband, when he's driving, he's got a contract in play that if he doesn't obey that contract, he can get in a lot of trouble. And the contract is he's got to give full disclosure of what's in that vehicle. And in front of being able to ask that question, meaning he's got to hand the law enforcement officer the CCW, and the cop's going to say, "Can I hold that gun?" And here's a whole nother thing. The answer is no, you're not going to hold my gun. You don't need to hold my gun. The cop's going to say, "Don't move." He's going to reach in, hold down his arm, grab the gun out of his. I mean, this is what the cops are doing. This is why you don't want a CCW. The law says you do not need a CCW, number one. I know statute and code, different. The Supreme Court, the law of the land, the Second Amendment, the law of the land, and you being a state citizen, and you just dotting your I's and crossing your T's, selling the gun to a private foundation, you now no longer own guns. You get where I'm coming at, and you serve notice to the Department of Justice. You've sold these firearms. You don't need to tell them who to. And now they're private. They're not public. They're not owned by the all caps name and registered to the all caps name. They're private. And it would be very hard for them to hang on to them if they were to take them from your possession because you don't own it. There's so much to learn about this one subject, especially being that they're registered in advance when you purchased it through XYZ Firearms Manufacturing Company slash firearms dealer. First, the firearms company puts a registration number on it, pre-registers everything with the United States. Secondly, the firearms dealer is going to make sure they get everything on that application perfect so that now you don't own that gun. You don't own these guns, guys. If it's registered, if a gun is an unregistered weapon, a firearm is a registered gun. People don't understand these things. The principle of why you'd want an 80/20, why you'd want to build your own gun, the principle of why you'd want to make sure the gun is owned by the foundation, the principle of whether or not you are in fact a U.S. citizen or a state citizen, the principle of do you have are you operating under a driver's license today? Have you done the work on the driver's license? I mean, there's so many things, but there's the presumption that there is jurisdiction over you the second you get pulled over and you hand them a license. And for sure, there's a presumption of jurisdiction over you if you hand them a license and a CCW. So what would I do, being the fact that your husband has a CCW? I'd carry a gun properly in a safe where the magazine is separated from the gun. Then, even if they were to break that safe open, you would have one hell of a case because you're traveling lawfully. But you can get into it in seconds if you need it. Lastly, I'm getting an insurance license. How, as a living in the private member, do I do that and still remain private? It's how you sign things. I would sign it non-assumptive in cursive, period. That's it. All right. Got a question over here in another spot. Hi, what is the difference between a foundation and a foreign express trust? A lot. One serves man, one serves God. What is the benefit of using a foundation versus a foreign express trust? Well, there's many different types of trusts. One's going to end up with a beneficial interest in a taxable event. Foundation never ends up with a taxable event. In addition to staying out of jurisdiction or asset protection, is it a good idea to have both? Again, without looking at a foreign express trust, who the beneficial interests are, how it's laid out. Um, really, I can't give you a qualified answer worth anything. Other than that, I know that if it has a beneficial interest, there's going to be a taxable event at some time, knowing that it's going to split the assets apart at the time of the reading of the benefits, and knowing that the houses are going to have to come out and go to the three beneficiaries, and they're going to have to make a sale, and they're all going to have a capital gains and this, that, and the other. Instead of doing all that, put it in a foundation. Teach your children right. Let them live through the foundation, bypass probate, bypass capital gains, and live forever on the asset that belongs to God. Next question. I'll try the security account with PG&E. I'm the beekeeper selling honey. Awesome. There are licenses within the code for selling and bottling honey. That's BS. Why do I'm not saying what you're saying is BS. I'm saying it's BS. Why? Because I always see honey everywhere I travel in New York and Pennsylvania, all over the place from all the Amish. The Amish aren't licensing their honey. They're just selling it. And if you're selling it to a member, that's two people's private rights to do whatever they want to do. Just know that. Um, but I'm going to read your question for selling bottled honey that I've been ignoring since the foundation, but the county is starting to tightening up their enforcement. A South Dakota LLC is considered foreign to California. Yeah, but you're still able to conduct business through an LLC in South Dakota in California. Um, and listen, this is why, jurisdictionally speaking, getting an LLC, I know you don't want to spend the 800 or whatever. Getting an LLC is only going to cause a jurisdictional privilege for the state of California to come after you on. They're going to say you're violating this, you're violating that. Having a private membership association known as a foundation where your members are buying honey, there is no jurisdictional privilege to the state to come after you on. The second you start contracting with the state, they're going to go, oh, no, you need this, you need this, you need this. And you keep coming deeper and deeper and deeper. Next thing you know, you're up to your waist in taxes. Awesome explanation to the concealed carry. You got it. Can hubby cancel his license all day long? All day long. Hey, there are licenses that have value, but not when you have to fully disclose everything to everybody everywhere. You know what I'm saying? It's like in a CCW in California, man. You got to tell that law enforcement in advance. And I've seen videos where they are full on arresting people because they didn't tell them about their gun on their side right then and there when the law enforcement pulled them over, and they are a licensed concealed carry. And it's wrong. It's wrong. But they will use everything against you once you concede to a license. So this is why we need to know the Supreme Court case sites, and this is why we need to know our rights. Now, there may come a time where Trump or somebody does something different, and they're doing a lot of talk about a federal license. Now, that sounds really groovy until you read the contract. So, what's your God-given unalienable right as a state citizen? To carry, period. Next question. Is it possible to buy a firearm with a state citizen passport at a gun shop? You can buy a firearm, but they want to see a driver's license where the address is on the license, and they want you to bring two, I'm guessing in your state, two forms of proof of residence, bank, um, PG&E, Southern California Edison, whatever. You can use it as a secondary ID, but they do want proof of residency. Um, I'm seriously thinking about going into another state down south called Arizona and getting a residency established there with a full reservation and a Arizona ID with an Arizona ID and Arizona address, which is very easy. I can buy guns instantly all day long. Doesn't matter what kind. Crossing state lines is a whole nother conversation with the gun. Been a while. How do I arrange a consultation? Come on, Jeff. Um, it's been a while. HISAdvocates.org, products at the top. Let me go make sure. HISAdvocates.org, products at the top, consultations, 6-1 down. Good to hear you, Jeffy. How's the private jet doing? Yes, I can sell honey to friends all day long in the private. It's wholesale accounts I have that are being scrutinized. I got you. Two different businesses, one for wholesale, one for your friends, one for small businesses. Um, you can run the LLC out of South Dakota all day long, and you can sell to anybody in any state and not necessarily be licensed in the state to which you're selling it to an individual. I don't know why somebody's requiring you. I bought in AZ and they forced me to admit to being a U.S. citizen. Don't worry about it. You can correct the record. Um, People do it all the time. All good. Got a chopper now. You got a chopper? Dude, I know your wife ain't getting on the back of that chopper. Well, if she's getting in the jet, she's getting on the chopper. You got a good woman with you, buddy. Anyway, looking forward to talking with you. Um, all right, guys, I'm tired. My voice is tired. Uh, I may be back on Thursday. Oh, she loves it. That's funny. I may be back on Thursday. We're getting a lot of clients, a lot of members, a lot of questions, and I'm loving the opportunity to clear questions, be concise, be thorough, be here to help people understand. Sometimes it's very hard to explain because the questions need to be very detailed, specific, like when you're operating a business, insurance licenses, different things, what states, what exactly your goals are. There's like more to a question and that's when it becomes a consultation. But nevertheless, we're getting through and being able to help people for free get their questions answered. Just FYI, download His Advocates TV on your phone, His Advocates TV. We're getting it updated. I'm passing the buck off from me to other people now that the whole platform has been developed. It's not very easy because a lot of things had to happen to be able to get somebody trained up in the back end. So we're working on it. But His Advocates TV is going to get updated in the next few days with all the videos from the last couple of months. We haven't been able to do it for a lot of different reasons, but nevertheless, we're going to be showing you guys some things to really be considering. And that's what that TV platform is to have a private place that will always espouse the truth and get behind the mainstream, showing you what they want to show you, but not really what's going on in the background. And coming into a lot of great times, guys, a lot of very interesting times. Stop focusing on the negativity. Stop focusing on the evil and keep your eyes on God. Watch what happens. Watch what happens. We smoke these fools. We win in the end. And if that means he's coming, great. I'll accept that. But I know one thing, good always prevails. I know evil has victories here and there, and getting back from France and seeing a lot of these castles and churches and seeing what evil does, guys, look, I just don't want to keep my eyes on that anymore. Everything that they're saying about the United Kingdom, everything they're saying about the people in France, all these things, a lot of it is a lie. A lot of it. I got to France, I got to the United Kingdom, I didn't see any of that stuff. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm just saying the perpetual nature of the negativity going into your mind affects you. It affects your fight or flight. I saw, I thought France was supposed to be mean. I thought these people were going to be mean to me. Nothing but pleasant people. Yeah, there's a lot of estrogen. A lot of guys that are gay. I'm just saying, like 50%. Just sorry, guys, if you're from France and you're hearing this, you're a little light in the loafers, man. I'm just saying, you may want to gird up, tighten the nuts up a little bit because you're a little feminine. I'm just saying, so do whatever you want with that. But it's the most beautiful country in the world. I've never seen anything as beautiful as France. And I would say to everybody, go and go fast. I'm really looking forward to being able to do podcasts and updates from some boat somewhere sometime in the near future. I think life's going to be a lot different for a lot of people, and I want to live in my own kingdom. I want to live in my own admiralty. So God bless you guys. Thank you for hanging out with me, and thank you for spending your time. Not going to guarantee it, but I might be back on Thursday, 4 p.m. Pacific. So have a great